11. The outer world is a reflection of your inner world. You must realize that you can never find something outside yourself that you have not already found within. Even if you found something outwardly, if you had not already found it inwardly, you would pass it by without seeing it. The more love, wisdom, and beauty you have found inwardly, the more you will discover them all round you. You think that you have not seen certain things because they were not there. No, they were certainly there, but you haven't seen them because you have not developed them sufficiently within yourself. Don't delude yourself. The outer world is simply a reflection of the inner world, and this means that you will not find wealth, peace, or happiness outwardly if you have never made the effort to find them inwardly. 12. Make sure of a good future by the way you live today. You are often anxious about the future and worry about possible accidents, illness, or poverty. But why poison your existence by thinking of all the bad things that might happen? We never know what the future holds. That's true. But the best way to avoid the disasters you fear is to try to live sensibly in the present. The future will be what you have made it in the present. It is today that is important. Just as the present is a sequence, a result of the past, the future will be a projection of the present. Everything hangs together. Past, present, and future cannot be separated. The future will be built on the foundations you lay today, and, of course, if those foundations are faulty, it is no good hoping for a very bright future. If they are solidly built, on the other hand, there will be no need to worry. With healthy roots, you will get a strong trunk and healthy branches and fruits. The past is past, but it has given birth to the present, and the present contains the roots of the future. This means that you must build your future in advance by improving the present. To do this, you must say to yourself every day, "Let me see, what have I said and done today? What kind of thoughts and feelings have I had?" And if you have done something wrong, if you have entertained bad thoughts and feelings, you must realize that this puts you on the side of the forces of darkness, and that those forces will destroy your future. If you have lived badly during the day, you must, at least, try before going to bed to diminish the evil effects by having better thoughts and making up your mind to do better next day. Your good thoughts will be like a swarm of bees that clean and mend everything overnight, so that you can start off next morning in better conditions. 13. Live in the fullness of the present. Some people live constantly in the past, their own past. They are prisoners of the few events they have experienced in life and are incapable of moving ahead. Others, on the contrary, live in the future, but a phantasmal, illusory future, conjured up by their own imagination, and which will never exist in reality. It is good to revert to the past from time to time, but only if you do so in order to recognize your mistakes or the wisdom of your actions and to learn from what you see. In this way, the past becomes a treasure house of experiences that can be used to live better in the present. But while learning from the past, it can also be useful to look ahead and picture the distant future that God envisages for man, and think of the splendor, the light in which mankind is destined to live one day. To be sure, a lot of people think of the future, but what kind of future? They think, in a few years, I will be married. We will have children, a whole brood of them, and a cozy little house. And it will be good to sit in front of the house in the evening and smoke a pipe and watch the cows or the trains go by. We will breathe in a little dust, and then we will go in and have supper and drink a glass of wine together before going to bed. What a splendid future! Many of you will protest, but that's not at all what we are looking forward to. I know. You look forward to making a lot of money, to being successful in business, to covering yourselves in glory, to becoming a cabinet minister or president, to having a pretty girl in your arms night and day. But what is all that worth? It's pitiful. You must learn to see beyond this shabby future and look for new horizons. Open your windows onto the infinite, so as to see what the future of mankind will really be, how God envisages it and anticipate it already in your daily life. Don't let the question of time bother you. Don't say, yes, but I will be dead by then. It won't happen in my time. For in saying that, you will be refusing all that is truly beautiful. You will be refusing to understand the true meaning of life. The present must be a time of conscious, enlightened action, drawing its wisdom from the lessons of the past and stimulated by all the possibilities of the future. This is the perfect situation, the lessons of the past. And God knows mankind's past holds many lessons and the infinite possibilities of the future. If you know how to live in the present in such a way as to express the experience of the past and the splendors of the future, you will be close to the Godhead. What is it that the seraphim sing before the throne of God? Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Your consciousness must expand until it attains the dimensions of the divine consciousness. 14. The importance of beginnings. Be aware of the forces you set in motion. You must never undertake anything until you know what forces you will be setting in motion. For it is the beginning that counts. It is at the moment when something begins that certain forces are set in motion, and these forces cannot be halted in mid-fight. They have to go all the way. Imagine for a moment that you are up in the mountains and that a huge rock is just above you, precariously balanced on the edge of the precipice. One little push would send it hurtling over the edge, and you are free to give it that push or to leave it alone. If you set it in motion, it will be impossible to stop it. It will crush you and many others as well. Or suppose that you are standing by a dam. If you open the sluice gates, you will be powerless to stop the water from pouring out. It is always easy to set forces and events in motion, but it is very difficult to steer them in the right direction and keep control of them. The term sorcerer's apprentice applies to someone who rashly unleashes currents that he is incapable of controlling or orientating. It is easy for an agitator to start a riot, but once started, things can equally easily get out of hand and he loses control. Before saying a word, giving someone a look, writing a letter, or triggering an action, your power is absolute. But once events have been set in motion, you become a mere spectator, and, often enough, a victim. This law is valid on the physical, astral, and mental planes. If, when you feel yourself getting angry, you immediately decide to contain it, it will not burst from you, but if you let it explode, you will be unable to stop it running its course. And this is also true for certain ideas. If you let them take root in you, they will end by being ineradicable. Be watchful, therefore, and never forget that it is only at the beginning that you have any power. Seek the light before acting. Before embarking on an enterprise of any importance, the first thing to do is to enter into yourself and make contact with the invisible world, so as to ensure the best possible conditions for action. When someone is anxious and confused, he is bound to make mistakes and complicate or even destroy things. In fact, it happens constantly. People act blindly and in haste, and the results are never satisfactory. If you want to act correctly, you must first seek the light you need. Isn't this true? Even on the purely physical plane, suppose that you are woken up in the middle of the night by a noise. Something has perhaps fallen over and broken, or a burglar has broken in to the house. Would you rush off to investigate in the dark? No. You know that would be dangerous. Before doing anything else, you switch on the light. And in every circumstance in life, the same rule applies. You must begin by switching on the light. That is to say, by turning inwards and concentrating so as to see what to do. If you don't have the light you need, you will waste time looking in different directions, knocking on all kinds of doors, and trying all kinds of methods, and none of them will be effective. Before undertaking anything important, therefore, you must concentrate for a few minutes on the world of light and ask for guidance. The response will come to you in the form of a particular idea or feeling, or possibly in the form of a symbol. If the answer is perfectly clear, you can go ahead. But if you are hesitant or apprehensive, or if something still seems unclear or contradictory, it means that there are obstacles or enemies in your way. In this case, postpone your decision. Ask the same question the following day, and don't embark on your new venture until your way is clear and there are no further obstacles ahead. Be careful about the first step. When you are about to do something for the first time, take care to be calm and to concentrate on accomplishing the very first gesture accurately and flawlessly. Then do it again, a little faster, keep practicing, repeating it again and again, until you reach the right rhythm and speed, and you will see that it will become easier and easier, and still be flawless. Whatever the gestures or actions you have to accomplish, you will always do so without a mistake if you take care to cut a perfect stereotype to start with. If you constantly make mistakes in certain areas, it is because, without your realizing it, the first stereotypes you cut were flawed. If you were careless about the very first step, the first gesture, your initial contact with a person or an object, you will have made mistakes, and now you are suffering the consequences. As time goes on, those first mistakes have become graver and more numerous. It is very difficult to repair errors engraved in us in the past, but it is easy to learn how to make new, flawless stereotypes. 15. Become conscious of your mental habits. Human beings are rarely conscious of their own mental habits. When faced with a new task or a new situation, the immediate reaction of one person will be to become tense and irritable. Another will be pessimistic, critical, or panic-stricken. Some will be violently opposed. Others will be discouraged, and so on. But as none of them are aware of their attitudes, they are not in a position to remedy them, and in every circumstance, they will always find a pretext for reacting negatively. The first thing to do, therefore, is to study yourself and learn how you react. Once you see this clearly, you have the means you need to face up to every situation. It will give you the impetus to bring into play all the possibilities that God has implanted in your subconscious, your consciousness and your subconsciousness. And this way, thanks to your habit of looking at yourself with lucidity, you will be in a position to make constant progress.